video is going to be unlike the others that I usually do, and I hope that you like it. It's about a topic that has been in my mind lately for a variety of reasons, and it is something that many people bring to my practice on a regular basis. Friends bring to me on a regular basis, and it is something that I have experienced. So let's talk about sexual rejection. This has probably happened to many of us in our lifetime. We're with someone who does not share our same level of sexual desire, who stopped wanting to be with us sexually, intimately. Intimacy has stopped, and any advances to engage in sex and intimacy are met with excuses, no's, or just avoidance. The truth is that I have been sexually rejected, and I have also rejected others sexually. So I want to have a very candid conversation about what it means to be sexually rejected and how to overcome the feelings. Note that this is not a talk about how to get your partner to want you back or how to make yourself want sex with somebody that you don't want to have sex with. That's not what this is about. And let me preface this chat with clarifying that I am talking about sexual rejection in the context of romantic relationships, domestic partnerships, committed relationships, long-term, short-term, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouses, those kinds of things. If you have been sexually rejected or are dealing with that now in your relationship, stick around as I talk about my personal and professional experiences in the subject. For those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. I am Dr. Tanji, the sex doctor, board certified clinical sexologist, and all things sexual health expert. I have created this channel to be a safe space to have open and candid conversations about the human sexual experience and invite you to join us by subscribing. Your subscription takes 1 second and allows this channel to continue to grow, reach far and wide, and for me to be able to continue to make content so we can all share and learn. I need you to fulfill my mission to destigmatize sex and make these conversations mainstream. You can also become a member of the Sex Curious and Sex Intelligent Club so you can receive exclusive content. I hope you join us. So the topic of sexual rejection may not sound like the usual fun topics that I normally talk about. Daily, though, I receive calls, emails, and people in my office who are devastated about not being reciprocated in their sexual advances to their spouses and partners. And I see the pain, confusion, neglect, loneliness, and the feelings of inadequacy that rejection brings about. I have been not only a victim, but a perpetrator in that sense as well. And I want to talk about my personal and professional perspectives on the matter of sexual rejection. First of all, what is sexual rejection? Well, it is just that, you not wanting to have sex with your partner at a given moment. Obviously, we're not always turned on or willing or able to say yes to sexual activity at all times. And it is a healthy thing to have boundaries around sex. So let me be clear about that. What I am talking about is the constant avoidance and refusal towards or from our partners for sex, and that can become problematic. I have heard this many times in my field. No is a complete sentence. And I agree that saying no to something that we don't want is our right. But when we find ourselves being the object of constant sexual rejection, or our answer to the sexual advances of our partner is always no, that deserves to be looked at closely and discussed further. So how does that sexual rejection feel? Well, anyone who has been the object of rejection knows that it doesn't feel very good, does it? Sexual rejection can bring about a variety of emotions, including sadness, anger, feelings of doubt, guilt, jealousy, embarrassment, loneliness, just to name a few. Sexual rejection can impact your sleep as you ruminate on your partner's refusal, especially if it's constant, or even your own. And it can lead to poor impulse control that manifests in seeking validation outside that relationship or forcing the sexual activity by emotional blackmailing, manipulation, and even just begging until the other person agrees. And I have to stress that Nagging, begging, negotiating sex after someone has said no is never a good idea. But we will get to know to navigate sexual rejection in a more healthy way in a minute. And did you know that sexual rejection can even weaken the immune system? Actually, the feelings of sadness, negative self image, and self esteem can leave a person feeling like they have not or they are not good enough, and internalized feelings of worthlessness, which may lead to feelings of depression and anxiety, compromising our body's ability to harness the capabilities of our immune system. And in my professional practice, I have heard many, many times how people feel like a fraud or a failure, or like there's something wrong with them because their partners have distanced themselves sexually from them and they don't have intimacy anymore. I know that, at least for me, when the rejection is constant, I lose the motivation to invest in the relationship. So, how do we deal with sexual rejection in a healthy way? The first thing you need to recognize is that each person is autonomous and that you, above all else, should want them to show up authentically. And this is hard. But the point of sex is to connect, to have fun, to express love, build intimacy, and enjoy it with all you got. If the other person does not want to have sex, don't make them. Begging for sex, nagging about it, complaining constantly, or even worse, manipulating your way into somebody else's genitals for your sexual gratification, knowing very well that the other party is not showing up, doesn't feel good. Is that the kind of sex that you want? Is that the kind of sex that makes you happy, that makes you feel fulfilled and satisfied? Because if you just want to rub one in and you don't care who is in the other end, there are probably other more effective ways of having your sexual fun than that. You can have sex for whatever reason, and I do not judge, and that is your choice. But if you are sentimentally involved with someone and sex is part of the expectation of the relationship, ideally, and I said ideally, both parties would come with the agreement to fulfill those expectations to the best of their abilities. And in order to find out the root cause of the constant rejection, everyone needs to be honest. Have you lost your attraction to that person? Are there unresolved emotional issues that you need to address in order to reconnect? Is there resentment that has been cooking up inside that have opened up a wedge between you two? Is there someone else that has become the object of your sexual desire? These are tough questions, and I have been there. I have been there myself. But pretending or hiding from the problem will not solve it. In my personal experience, and based on what I see in my practice, these conversations can be tough, but not having them are devastating and can lead to the slow and painful death of the relationship. Painful as it may be, confront the issues, be honest, and find solutions. But what if the other person refuses to do something about the constant sexual rejection? I have been there, and I have worked with individuals and couples who are at a crossroad. They are willing and eager to solve the sexual issues in the relationship, but one party is reluctant. That is very frustrating. Well, you cannot control someone else, but you can control yourself. Work with your self-esteem and self-confidence to reclaim your sexuality. And if you have been neglected, just cultivate your sexual being, even in the absence of your partner. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your sexual self. If you're still interested in sex, just because your partner refuses to be involved, it doesn't mean that it's the end of sex for you. Seeking professional help always helps. I know that for many reasons, sex is the ultimate taboo, and many people are totally reluctant and skeptical to talk about it in therapy. But you owe it to yourself to find ways to cope with the rejection and equip yourself with communication and coping skills to address the underlying problem. I love therapy, and it has helped me tremendously over the years in many respects. You can also find retreats, workshops, seminars, webinars, books, and content online, such as this one. If you can't or won't go to therapy, so you can gain more perspective, and you can do this before you get a therapist involved. But I promise you, that therapy is a great investment in yourself and your mental and sexual health. If you change, the dynamic of the relationship changes, and you may find options and answers that you may have never contemplated by yourself had you not talked to someone. But at the end of the day, you have to decide how much value you give to all aspects of your relationship and whether or not sex will be part of the menu. For some people, sex is very important and they can break a relationship over the disappointment and disagreements in sex styles, and sex drives. For others, they can withstand the rejection for the sake of preserving the unit. And these are individuals' decisions that you have to make. Exploring a different relationship model and negotiating it with a partner who is reluctant to be sexual may also be an option, or presenting it to the partner that is the constant object of your own rejection. Remember that opening the relationship, though, may be more complicated than you think. And I mean ethically opening it. I personally and professionally have witnessed what infidelity does to people, and I would hope that we have all learned from our past mistakes, and what we know makes us act better. I know I have grown a lot from my own mistakes, and I have learned to be upfront, transparent, and totally honest, to show up for myself, to be authentic, and to be 100%. Don't mind the dogs in the background. This has turned into a long venting session, it seems like. And I thank you for listening, for staying tuned. If you're dealing with sexual rejection, or if you are always the one doing the rejection, it is time to confront the issue, because the first step to solve a problem, you know what it is to accept that there is one. I wish great sex for you and for me. And if you have any questions or comments, I welcome them below. This is Dr. Tanji, the Sex Doctor. See you next time.